you all for coming here today to help celebrate this Veterans Returning Home dinner. Fantastic crowd. Chef Chris, I understand. Hello, sir. Would you, the flag's over there, would you lead us in a pledge, please? All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Chef Chris. So, Pastor Ledlie, would you lead us in an invocation, please?
Great night tonight. How can everybody groove that? Say amen. Let's bow our hearts in a word of prayer. So thankful to be here and for all that's happening with Vets Returning Home. Lord, we're so thankful for such an amazing night to lift up the arms of those who have served us so well and continue to serve all over the world. We thank you, Lord God, for the leadership of Sandy Bauer and all those that serve at Vets Returning Home. And we believe tonight is an amazing opportunity to see what you want to do in bringing us from where we are to where you have us to be. So we pray you bless this food, our fellowship. God, I pray you bring resources from the north, south, east, and west. We're praying in Ephesians 3:20 blessing that you're going to do exceeding abundantly above all we can ask or think. God, we ask for your blessing tonight in Jesus' name. And everyone said, Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. So are we going to start serving now? It's a privilege to be here today, but I'd like to introduce Sandra Bauer.
Anyway, thank you all for coming tonight. This is exciting because it is our first event since 2019. So it's almost like kind of starting all over, learning to ride a bike again. But it's a pleasure to see everybody. Nice to be in large gathered spaces again, and amongst our friends and our loved ones. I have a lot of people to thank, and I'm going to apologize in advance honestly, I could thank every single one of you by name because everybody does so much to help this organization. And it's humbling to see the kind of support that we get to help our veterans. So, but first and foremost, where's my family? I got two tables. Well, you guys are my second family. I got 2 tables of family. You guys stand up. So, my son, Mike, and his family, with my grandson Giovanni, his fiance, her children, her father. So, very pleased to have them here. The next table over. My daughter-in-law Kristen, her husband Wade, Samantha, daughter-in-law, and her husband Dave, and then my grandchildren. Now, most of my grandchildren have been to my events since day one. They were little guys, all right? I think Anthony was 9. You're 19 now, right? So 9 years old when I started Vets Returning Home. Darian and Giovanni were 7. And Giovanni said to me the other day, or yesterday, he works at the thrift store, helps at the thrift store, and he said, so we're closing the store early because, Nana, I have been at every event, and I don't plan on starting to miss any now, So they worked very hard for Vets Returning Home. They have, even when they were 7 years old, they would come and clear the tables after the veterans would have lunch. they'd go out into the courtyard and, you know, clean up the courtyard and clean up after the dogs and what can we do to help Nana? And then every one of my fundraisers, they're the last ones standing because we're exhausted, but they're putting away, you know, carrying all the stuff that has to go back to the shelter and putting all the boxes away and things like that. And I just want you guys to know that I thank you for supporting this mission and my work, but more than that, tolerating me. You know, I get invited, hey Mom, you want to come over? I'm making a special dinner, and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I just want to stay home, or, you know, can't rally for some of those events and some of the things that I probably could and should otherwise, but they understand the work that we're doing here and how important it is, and they help in every way. You know, my son is a business owner now. He owns a company called What's Bugging You. Nice little plug, you're welcome. I'll tell a quick story though. When we first opened Vets Returning Home, and as you can imagine, you know, there's like craziness with like bed bugs, what do they call it, like a epidemic or whatever it is, all over the country with in the hotels, and you can imagine in homeless shelters and things like that. And the first sign, we had one and I was just panicked. And we got an exterminator to come out, and every month he would just charge me just enough to cover the cost of his material. And he would spray, but we never got rid of him. We never had a infestation, but you know, a spotting here and there, and I was horrified. And our veterans deserve more than that. So my son started researching, you know, how do you eradicate bed bugs, right? He went out and spent like $40,000 and bought all this equipment, and he is the only person that's ever walked into our facility in one day eradicate everything. I mean, you know, so now he eventually started his own company because he's so darn good at it. But you know, anytime we have a problem of anything, you know, ants or, you know, fruit flies or whatever, we just call Mike and he comes and they're gone and it's done, and for that I thank you. And you know, he's always there praying with the veterans, counseling them, just an ear, and it's just awesome. So thank my family. Thank you, thank you. As I have a lot of volunteers, you know, and some of my volunteers, they're all special. But you know, some of them show up for my events, like today, you know. So some of them I haven't seen in years because I haven't had an event since 19. But for those that helped with this event tonight, thank you so much, because my team of volunteers that I had, my events committees kind of fell apart, you know, since 2018. They've moved on. 2 of them went to Florida, 1 in California, and you know, 1's pregnant or whatever. So I want a special thank you to the GOP, Macomb County GOP, for making this event happen, really, because I don't know that I would have tried to do this on my own. I knew in order to do another event I needed a lot of help. So for that, thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that said, you know, the Macomb County GOP has actually been very supportive, not just for this event, but all the time. You know, what can we do to help you? And little things that they do on their own for Vets Returning Home. So, you know, I always appreciate your support. I want a special thank you to my friend. Where's Terry McCoskey? Senator Terry McCoskey. Stand up. Stand up. Real deal patriot. Loves our veterans. He and his wife both, they always just amaze me. What can we do? What can we do to help you? What do you need? They're always there for us, and I thank you, Terry.
You're the best, Sandy.
Back at you, dude.
One thing I don't mention very often, but let the folks know, I think it's very important,
Their shelter is the only shelter in Michigan that has beds for female veterans. That's only one.
Yeah.
The only one.
Terry was just saying. Now, let me just to clarify that. Okay, so when I opened Vets Returning Home almost 10 years ago, we have now housed over 2,000 veterans at our facility in Roseville, and then another probably almost 1,000 veteran families in the community that we've been able to provide prevention funding for. And sometimes it's just gas in their car so that they can finish out the month until they get their funding, and or hitting our food pantry once a week. Occasionally we can come up with enough money to help them pay a shut-off notice or an eviction notice or things like that. But when I first opened Vets Returning Home, I opened it as men only, not realizing that we in the state of Michigan had 0 beds for our women. So I reconfigured some space. We have 43 beds at our facility. 6 are designated for our women. And I have not checked, but prior to the pandemic, we were the only facility in the state of Michigan that offered, shelter for our veteran women. Thank you. So, with that said, I really haven't I haven't been as engaged with all the other programs and networking and all the VA and all that stuff. First of all, they're not even really all back to work yet. They're still working remotely and Zoom calls and things like that. But so has somebody else opened a facility since whatever 2020 maybe? But I don't know if they have. I don't know about it. But I just want to clarify that. And then somebody else came up to me, kind of panicked. And there was some rumors going around about, and I'm going to drop the name because, whatever, Erica Stiglia does not sit on my board. Okay? Not to get political, but he's not a nice man. I don't like anything about him. And he does not sit on my board. So if you guys hear that, just don't spread that rumor. Because that'll cost me. It'll cost me in support. It'll cost me in, financial support from donors and things like that. I don't want that. That's not me. So I'll move on from that. Where's the veterans, our veteran guests at Vets Returning Home? Can you all stand up? Stand up. Let's hear it for these guys. I call them my veterans. They're not mine. They're ours. But to my veterans, our veterans at Vets Returning Home, guys, every day I come to that facility and you guys always thank me. Everybody's thanking me. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you for what you do, Sandy. Thank you, thank you. I want to thank you guys. And the obvious, we thank you for your service and what you've done for this country. And you've made my life what it is, and that of those 2 tables over there, that's 3 generations of being able to live in this amazing country and have the opportunities that we have, and that's because of the sacrifices that you guys have made. But on a bigger note, every time I come in, you guys thank me. I want to thank you guys, because you all know that I have been very busy, first with my roommate passing away, and opening the store, and trying to run the facility, and which I'm going to get to thanking Carrie here in a minute. But I haven't been as focused on the actual facility as I could and normally would have been, because I'm pulled in too many directions. But guys, I just want to thank you guys, because I know when I walk in that door, I see the camaraderie amongst each other, the support that you guys give each other. If somebody's in trouble, you guys are the first ones to rally. I'm the last one to know, because you guys always try to step up and help each other. And the respect that we have in the house, not only for each other, but for the actual program and the mission. And I got a great group of veterans that are staying at Vets Returning Home right now. And thank you. That's That's all I want to say. Where's my store staff and my volunteers at the store? So I have, a couple of paid staff members, and I say paid. It's more like a stipend. Like seriously, I mean, I try to pay them as best I can, but and then I have some volunteers there. Where are you guys? I don't see them. Okay, stand up for a second. Stand up. Jason, you should stand up in there too. Jason, stand up. So these are some staff, some of the volunteer staff. I could not. This store would have been, I would have went, oh, well, that didn't work. Next, move on. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. The store is just now starting to turn that corner. It's doing well. Everybody loves the store. They love my staff. And you guys, I know how hard you work and how much pride you take in that store. And thank you for all that you do. I appreciate it. And I wish I could just pay you all a whole lot of money, but we can't. But we all get it back in love. So, where's Paul Diem? I didn't see you stand up. No, stand up. Stand up. Okay, so Paul volunteers. Paul started volunteering. He's the one that secured the building for me when I purchased it back in 2013. He was my real estate broker. Okay? And I've known Paul for, what, 35 years? 30 years? Something like that. We're dating ourselves. But, Paul has always volunteered at Vets Turning Home. He's our facility director, and now he's helping me manage the store. And then, we pick up donated furniture, and then we sell furniture at the store. So we have to deliver it sometimes. And we didn't have a truck driver, so now he's driving the truck, and he's moving furniture and whatever. And he said to me, I'm going to tell them, I've gotten a lot of mileage out of this, actually. He said to me a couple weeks ago, he goes, he's 69, okay? Or gonna be 69, right? Gonna be 69. And we're both killing ourselves. He more than me, because I hurt my back and I can't do as much anymore. But he says to me a couple weeks ago, he goes, I'm building a case against you, right? And I'm like, what? He goes, elder abuse. So, Paul, I just want you to know, he already knows. This store would have been, it would have been another one of Sandy's bad ideas. I would have had to shut the doors when I hurt my back and whatever. If it weren't for Paul stepping up and taking over and literally running the show. And for that, I'm forever thankful. And there's a special place for you. Thank you. Paul's also the bass player in the Jim Gold Band. So, how many people, seriously, don't pretend. How many people know who Jim Gold is? Raise your hand. So, when Jim Gold and the gallery come up here and start performing, I would say anybody over 50, you will absolutely remember his songs. And honestly, most people have heard his songs in whatever, movies or commercials or whatever, even still on the radio. He's got like, I don't know how many millions and millions of records sold and that. So to have Jim Gold here is huge, huge. And he's done, this is our second, he did a second or third event with Jim, I'm not sure, but he did a thing, Christmas at the store for us, and that was so cool. It was very quaint and, and a very nice man too. So he, just so you guys know, he donated his guitar. So this is not just some guitar he, picked off the shelf. This is his guitar, he donated it, he autographed it, and the entire band autographed it. And we're gonna raffle that off tonight, so that's a little special. I'm gonna sell a deck of cards, for a card for $10. You rip the card in half, you keep one half, we keep the other, and we do a drawing. So the odds are pretty good, 1 in what, 52 or whatever. And then we have another, it's an experience. And we're gonna be passing around the flyer, you'll see it. Anybody interested in lessons on how to shoot an AR? Okay, we're gonna be selling a deck of cards, 10 bucks. Listen, don't be afraid. If you don't wanna buy it, that's okay. I would just as soon be the winner. Okay? So, I'm kidding. I'd rather raise the money. Everybody buy a ticket. We appreciate it. Where's the 50-50 balloon thing? Oh, it's back there in the corner. So there's a special balloon, helium balloon, and it's shaped like an American flag. When you see that walking around, that means that we're selling 50-50 tickets. And I recruited my grandkids because the little ones are still, they're really cute. So they have a tendency to be able to beg money better than any of us. So anyway, we're gonna do 50-50. And then my friend Kristina from Blue Star Service Dogs, thank you. She just always looks out for me. She called me and she was like, Sandy, I wanna get you in on this matching grant opportunity, right? And I forgot your name. Stephanie. Do you want to stand up? So Stephanie is the person that actually got us this grant opportunity from Healing Hands, right? From Totera, right? So this would not have happened without either one of these ladies. So this is huge for us. And just so you know, when we win that matching grant, and we will, okay, Lord willing, we're going to buy a new box truck. Yeah, because the box truck keeps breaking down and now it needs a transmission and it's some kind of like foreign, like not Mitsubishi, even weirder than that, Isuzu or whatever. You can't get parts anymore since the supply chain, nobody wants to work on those trucks. So I'm gonna get a new cab and chassis and we're gonna keep the box because it's wrapped, like it looks like a rolling billboard, it's beautiful. So, and what I'm most excited about is that because I'm getting the grant, and of course the grantors, they always ask, what do you plan on spending the money on, right? So when I apply for a grant, I have to tell them how I'm gonna spend the money, and so I need a new truck. I didn't have to go to my board, you know, and justify or beg to spend money. Now I have to buy the truck. And I don't have to hope that they support the vote or whatever. But my board has been amazing. Pastor Art is on my board, and you know, he's always got my back, and I appreciate that. And I just want to say one other little thing is Chris, who did the pledge. He's our chef. He's a veteran. He doesn't live at Vets Returning Home, but he volunteers to help in the kitchen. So anytime you're near the northeast corner of 11 Mile and Gratiot, stop in, say hello to the veterans, let them know you appreciate their service. And you know, if you're around at noon or 5, stop in, have lunch with them, have dinner. You don't need an invitation, you don't need an appointment. You know, if you're shopping at Costco, pick up an extra gallon of milk or a pound of coffee and walk across the parking lot. You know, we go through about 30 pots of coffee a day. So, anyway, thank you so much. I don't know if there's anything else. Oh, I'm going to take this opportunity. Instead of making Mark get back up here, where's Kristina Karamo, our friend Kristina? Come on up, girlie. I'm so thrilled to have Kristina here tonight. She is our new Secretary of State. She is a warrior. She is a patriot. She's fearless. And for those of you, we agreed, we're not going to get into a whole political thing here, even though we have a lot of people here from the GOP, and obviously our Republican Secretary of State. We all know me, I'm a big mouth patriot, a conservative, but we are all, everybody in this room loves the United States of America, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Okay. There are none of us here that are trying to tear down this country, and you know, we're not into, not one person here is into any of this woke agenda that's going on. So for that, Kristina Karamo. I'm gonna say one more thing. I don't think I've ever heard her speak on a non-political agenda. So I'm kind of anxious to hear what you
Thank you, Sandy. And let's give it up for Sandy for all that she's done. our veterans. Many of us have veterans that have touched our lives. Both of my grandfathers were veterans. My one grandfather served in the Korean War, and also my other grandfather served in World War II. And the skills and the things they taught me just meant the world to me. And just kind of reflecting on that, my grandfather, who was in the Korean War, he picked up the hobby of photography when he was away in Korea. And when he came back home, he brought a silk bed sheet set made in Korea, as pink and green dragons on it, and it's still in top-notch quality. Even though this thing is well over 60 years old. But thank you again, Sandy, for all the work that you and all the volunteers and donors do for veterans returning home. And kind of to Sandy's point, preparing my remarks today, I thought to myself, what am I gonna say? And I was thinking, how do I encourage people to continue to support Sandy's cause? Because the cause of supporting our veterans is something that we can all unite around. Our veterans are our heroes. They are our soldiers. And what's really unique in America, that in many countries around the world, they do not love their soldiers. They don't like them. Because in many countries around the world, their soldiers are the ones who actually oppress and mistreat the people. But in America, our soldiers are our heroes. Our soldiers are the ones who are willing to lay their life down for their fellow men and fellow women. And that commitment to service and duty does not end when people return home. And we have a responsibility to rally around our soldiers. And so in preparing my remarks for today, I called a very dear friend of mine who's a former Navy SEAL. And I asked him, it's always, sometimes it's difficult to ask people, why do you have trouble? Why do you have these problems that you notice within our veteran community? Because you never want to open up wounds, right? You never want to ask those questions. But I asked him, I said, why does it seem that so many of our veterans seem to be forgotten and left behind in society? What is going on? And he was just sharing with me, it's a loss of family. It's a loss of community that so many people have and so many people experience, that when the people come home, it's just, where is the support? And we know what goes on with the VA. I've heard the horrible stories. We know what goes on. And the fact that Sandy is willing to step up, and all the volunteers and all the people who donate to her cause, to this cause, is just a beautiful thing. Because one of the things that's missing in American society is our care for one another. We've lost community. And as I was talking to my friend and asking him, why do we seem to have this problem with homelessness around our vets, he was telling me it's like this loss of family and community. And he was just explaining it to me from his perspective as a veteran. But then as I'm listening to him talk, it's like we've lost community in our society. We don't rally around each other. We don't love each other like we used to. Instead, when we see someone in downfall or someone plagued with a problem, we laugh at them. We record them. We other each other. And that's one of the biggest problems facing American society today. We've lost the sense of community. We've lost the concept of seeing every human being made in God's image. If we think of all of the things that make us different, the one thing that unites us all is that we are humans uniquely made in God's image. And if we start seeing each other as being made in God's image, that's the first step to rebuilding community. And that's what will turn our entire society around. And that is how we will ensure that we have a more welcoming environment for our veterans. So my professional background is in education. And I've seen this firsthand with a lot of the students that I used to teach, that they just didn't feel loved. They didn't feel cared for, because many of us are living on digital islands. Think about it. Can we ever disconnect from our cell phones? Not so much. Have you ever left the house and forgot your cell phone? It's one of the worst feelings ever. It's a horrible feeling to leave your house and forget your cell phone, because you're detached from the most important device that you own. I mean, think about it. Many people would rather have their car stolen than to lose their cell phone. because it's everything in there, all your contacts and everything that you need. But what else does that phone provide for us? It's like a safety net. It is how you connect to other people. And instead of the human relationship and the human interaction being what connects us, it's that device. And one of the unfortunate consequences is causes barrier to be put up between us and our fellow man, that we are no longer in touch and connected with our communities. And someone can be suffering around us and we don't even know. It used to be a time in society where people were nosy neighbors, but for a good reason. I have this joke, I say, you know, I want to get a house with a big porch on the front so I can be the nosy neighbor spying on everybody. That's me. But, you know, there was a benefit to the nosy neighbor. The nosy neighbor knew what was going on. The nosy neighbor wasn't just nosy for the sake of being nosy, but it was for the sake of helping. Because my mother told me that growing up, she knew that she couldn't just run in the street. She knew she just couldn't do certain things because there was going to be an older woman sitting on the porch watching to make sure people were safe. And if for the family in the community that was struggling, people were going to chip in and help out. We knew what was going on in our neighbors' lives, some people for the purpose of gossip, but for most people, it was for the sake of helping. It was for the sake of pouring into people's lives. And this is why this cause is so important, so we can pour into the lives of our community members who are our veterans. And this is one of the things that's going to restore our country and bring us back together, because we are a deeply divided nation. We are. We're so divided on all these different categories, but we forget what unites us all. Is the fact that we're made in God's image and we're Americans. And if we don't take care of one another and this country falls, where will we go? There's no place for us to run to. There is no other country for us to hide. This is it. This is our home. And this is why it is so important that we not only take care of our country in the form of the service that our veterans provide, but also primarily in service to one another. And you know, you think about it, oftentimes you see these videos, excuse me, online, where if someone's fist fighting or other things, what are people's first things? To record and laugh. Or looting in the street, people record it. It's like our society is collapsing around us. And the plight of our veterans is another example of how our society is collapsing. When I say that, what is happening? You know, people go and they risk their lives for our country. And what do they get in return from our government? I'm sorry, but it's the truth. You know, I have, and I don't pretend to know fully. I've never paid that oath, but I have some very dear friends of mine who have. And I've watched them suffer. And I watched them struggle. And I watched, you know, I have a dear friend of mine that sometimes has to go sit by themselves for a while just to cope. This is a real thing that people are dealing with. And also restoring our communities will make people feel comfortable sharing what they're dealing with in their lives. Oftentimes people struggle in their everyday lives with things, but they don't come forward and talk to anybody because they feel like they have no one to talk to. Sometimes being there for someone isn't just giving them money. Sometimes it's just listening. You know, this goes back to what I mean about rebuilding community. That's what we're lacking. You know, one of the funniest things, too, is evidence of a lack of community. Why do you think we have so many online dating services, okay? Sorry if that hit a little deep. But it's true. We don't have community anymore. We don't. So when somebody in the community is suffering, where do they go? Who do they talk to? They don't have anyone. And that's why it's so important to support organizations like this one, and also make sure that we're spending our time and looking out for one another. Because one of the problems as the loss of community, it infects so much of our society, is that a lot of times we'll see someone struggling and we'll just go, that's none of my business. It is all of our business. We'll just go say, that's not my problem. I have my own life to deal with. I have my own kids to care about. That's not my problem. We've become painfully selfish. And I get it. I'm an individualist. I am. I'm a pretty hardcore individualist. But not to the extent that if my fellow man is suffering, that I don't care. I don't care. And that's what's happening to our society. That loss of community has caused us to be desensitized to the suffering of other people. The point is almost entertainment. We don't even care. You know, I was talking with someone the other day, and they, you know, sometimes you hear in the world I'm in, right? I hear about horrible things all the time. And I found myself becoming somewhat desensitized. That when something horrible happens, I just kind of go, okay, that's horrible. We've just lost so much. And restoring community is it will bring us back to when someone is suffering, we just won't go, oh, that's really sad. Saying that it's sad and that you're bothered, what is that? We need action. All of us can contribute some way. All of us. And this is one of the best organizations that I've seen to give your time and your treasure. So Sandy invited me to go visit veterans returning home, and I got an opportunity to see a community. I got an opportunity to see a community and see a group of men who just rallied around one another. And how everybody, you could tell it was organic. Nobody knew who I was. You know, she didn't make some grand announcement. No, I just walked in and just sat there and had lunch and talked to people and looked around. And it was just so beautiful to see this organic community where everyone looked out for one another. And this is the type of organizations more that we need, not just for helping our vets, but our homeless teenagers, for all types of individuals that are suffering. And that's when I go back to the lack of community. Many of us are so disconnected, we don't know what people are dealing with. And to be there and see, I'm like, wow, they eat way better than I do. I mean, there's so much great food there, you know, a great environment, and just the way it's structured. This is something that we all need to get behind. Because, you know, where we spend our time and treasure says a lot about us. How often, and ask yourself, when is the last time you poured into another person's life? When is the last time you helped somebody, and then not an immediate family member too? Not that, because that doesn't count. You're gonna say, why doesn't it count? You know, I'm a mother, and my kids are like an extension of myself. You know, we'll do anything for our children. We would rather walk through fire than watch our children suffer. But what about risking yourself or putting yourself out for another person who's not a family member? So it's easy to put yourself out there, sacrifice for your kids or your parents or your siblings. But what about a complete stranger? What about a person that nothing comes of it? Because think about it, when nothing comes of it for you personally, when you do something for your kids, that helps, right? That helps bridge that bond. And you feel some type of euphoria. You feel good about yourself. You know, or your parent or your sibling, right? It helps deepen that already existing bond. But what about the stranger you'll never see again, you'll never talk to? That's how we build community. It's not just our family and our friends, it's the people whose faces we'll never see again. And this is how we improve our society. Everybody's looking around for the answer. Like, how do we fix our society? How do we fix our country? We're so divided, we're falling apart, what do we do? The answer is really simple, folks. Building community. And Sandy Bauer's organization, Veteran Returning Home, is an example of a community. That is a microcosm of what needs to be replicated around this state and around this country. And so I encourage you to not just give, because it's important. You know, it's not free. I keep hitting the point, because I know it's important. It's not free, it's not cheap. But not just your money, but your time. And I encourage everybody in this room to take some time and do something for another person. Do something for someone, and it doesn't personally benefit you. Imagine how much better our society would be if all of us just did our part to improve our community. Because too often, we all have our finger out looking for someone else to step up. Why don't you step up? Why don't you be the person that steps up?
There you go.
Yeah, you know, so. It's something every last one of us can do. And you know, and don't compare, when I say about stepping up and us building community, I don't want us to compare ourselves to other people. Because some people may not be physically capable of doing a lot. Some people you may be a senior on a fixed income and you don't have a lot of money. But we all can do a little something. Even if you decide, 1 hour a week, I'm gonna make some phone calls to support an organization. Or maybe, one day a month, I'm gonna go read to a group of children. Or one day, I'm gonna show up to veterans returning home one day a month with dessert, just to talk to people and see how they're doing. There's all something we can do to contribute to society. And just imagine what a better society we'll have. Just imagine how much better you will feel. Because one of the things that's very amazing is that when you start to pour into the lives of other people, it actually starts to make you feel better about yourself. Because you shift focus away from you. Some of the problem we have too is not just a lack of community, is that we're too focused on ourselves. We're focused on ourselves and what our problems are and what we're dealing with. How about we all take a little time to see what we can do for another person? And not only does this organization show a strong community, but what about our veterans? They were willing to put their lives on the line for us. What does Jesus say? That there is no greater gift, no greater sacrifice than to be willing to lay down your life for your brother. And so they were willing to do this. So with that being said, the least we can do is be willing to support our veterans and help establish a better community. And I firmly believe if we get in the habit, not just Michiganders, but as Americans, of establishing better community, a lot of problems will solve. Because with these digital islands that we have, I know I made the joke about online dating. I'm sorry about that. But with these digital islands, our students, as I mentioned, our young people, so many people are alone. And we look at the mental illness in our country, all groups of people. Our young people are really suffering with mental illness. I've seen it firsthand. A lot of our young people suffer with extreme social anxiety. It is extreme. And many adults are too, because of these digital islands. I'm not opposed to cell phones. I'm not saying they're bad. But the point is we have lost community. I know I keep hitting that point because that's what's missing. Our young people, many people, are just sitting alone. And we have to restore that. If we restore that, so many of the problems we'll see will just begin to self-correct. So when it comes to helping our veterans who are struggling, that will self-correct. When we think about our young people who are struggling with depression, that will self-correct. A lot of things about poverty, that will self-correct because we have organic community. And one of the benefits of when we do it ourselves, instead of the government, is that it's us actually doing life with people. Because when you think about a bureaucrat, they just shove a check across the table. You're just person 001. You don't mean anything to them. But when we do it ourselves, that's us actually spending time and pouring into a person, not just by giving our time and our money, but we're also giving our heart. That's the beauty of building community. So Sandy, thank you so much for inviting me to speak. And I encourage everyone here, please, please financially support veterans returning home. I mean, think about it like this. How much money do you waste per month on a coffee? Or a hamburger? Or that ice cream you didn't need, right? A lot. So you could use those funds to supporting a fantastic organization. And I also ask you to please give your time. Building community and pouring into the life of another person, it is one of the most beautiful things we can do as human beings because life is not all about you. Make sure that you're caring for somebody else. Thank you and God bless.
One step. I'm not climbing the second one. Couple more things. I want to take a real quick sec. I'm not going to name individually, but I want to thank all our sponsors here tonight. My UAW supporters, you guys are never miss every single event. They're always here. Thank you guys. We had two major sponsors, Mike Reel, and forgive me, I forget his wife's name, but they did our $2,500 big package sponsor and then donated the tables back so that our veterans could come, which they always come to our events. I always invite our veteran guests, but I was able this time to let them bring a guest. Where's Ashley and Keith? Okay, you see the guy with the camera right there? That's Keith Kalfas. And you see that beautiful girl right next to him? That's his lovely bride, Ashley. So I know a lot of you guys, I know a lot of you follow me on Facebook, or Twitter, or Instagram, or TikTok, or. And y'all think you're talking to me? It's her. Yes, so Ashley took over our social media, I don't know, a while ago, year and a half, 2 years, it's all a blur. But she's doing a fantastic job, and then she and her husband volunteer to do our videos, and they're putting together, now this is just clips, but they've been working on a documentary for Vets Returning Home. So they just pulled out little pieces of it. So I can't wait to see the finished, it's gonna be awesome. But a special thanks, because I mean, these guys work hard for us. I feel almost guilty sometimes because Ashley's always on it, selling furniture on Marketplace for the store and things like that. I mean, I could go on and on. I could look around the room, and I know I have to keep moving on. So if I missed anybody's personal thank you, it wasn't intentional, but I need to see, first we're going to start with Arthur David. Where's Art? Come on up, Art. I did not like slot time for Arthur to speak. Tell them who you are and why you're here.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Sandy. I really appreciate you inviting me. But my name is Art David. I'm the author of A Soldier's Journey with the Presence of God, as you've seen here on the screen today. I've met Sandy about 6 months ago, and I introduced my book to her, and I told her when I wrote this book, I really needed to dedicate it to a group, an organization that would be taking care of the soldiers, not just regular soldiers, but soldiers that were hurting, soldiers with PTSD. I had it. I went to Vietnam. I came home. God saved my life, and don't ask me how it happened, but I came home without a scratch. On 3 or 4 separate occasions, God has saved my life through a series of miracles, and I don't know why He brought me home, but maybe it's just for this reason alone. But I just want to let you know, you're all my brothers in arms back there. God bless you all. I'm here for you too. All right? All the money for this book is going to Sandy's organization, Vets Returning Home, for very good reason. We want to make sure that we bring God into their hearts and to your heart as well. It's a very spiritual book. It's very moving for me. They're all true stories about my life and how I came home and I got over my PTSD. You don't really get a cure for PTSD. It's just something that you learn how to live with, learn how to control. But it takes time, it takes energy. And like Kristina said before, sometimes it just takes somebody to listen to that understands what you're going through. I know I was fearful when I was there, and I know you guys were too. But now we're home, and we're here with our loved ones, and they're here to support us. And I'm here for you too, guys. God bless you all. Sandy, I want to say, here, my brother and I, because he has helped me write this book, we want to donate today $2,000 from our book, one of many checks to come.
So, Art's also going to be signing books over here in the corner too, so if you want to purchase a book, all the profits go to Vets Returning Home. Thank you, Art. Thank you so much. I read the book. It's great. It really is. It's a very enjoyable read, and it's very heartfelt. You can tell it meant a lot. Okay, where's Chris White? Chris White. Chris White. Come on up, Chris. Chris is with the Detroit Metro chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution. So they heard about the matching grant and wanted to take this opportunity.
My name's Chris. Sorry. We're with the Detroit Metro Chapter, Sons of the American Revolution. Every year we support wreaths across America at Great Lakes National Cemetery. Every wreath sponsored through our group results in a rebate, and every year we donate it to Sandy and Vets Returning Home. So we're here to do that today. We have a check for you for $1,000. Thank you.
Okay, I got one more. Knights of Columbus. Where's the Knights of Columbus? Hey. Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you guys. My assistant, Carrie, you know, she checks even my emails. She does the info at Vets Returning Home, Sandy at Vets Returning Home, store at Vets Returning Home. So she lined this up. I don't know. You're going to have to say a few words. Why are you giving me this check? What brought you to us?
First of all, the Knights of Columbus is the world's largest Catholic men's organization. The assembly is a patriotic assembly. There's 4 total. The 4th one is the patriotic degree. And because of that, we pulled together some money. We have a check for $500 for your organization. We do that 4 times a year because we believe in your cause. So, Sandy, thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now we're going to have a little question and answer with Stacy to see if any of these checks can go towards the $15,000 or if I have to work hard. All of them. Very cool. All of them can go towards the $15,000. So we're clearly going to make our rolls. Yes. On your tables, there's a little, what do you call that? A QR code on that little tent, that little table tent. So if anybody wants to just make a straight up donation, you can just scan that QR code and it goes right into doTERRA and to the $15,000 that we need to raise for tonight. And okay, so everybody knows about the tables over here. There's the red table, all those items. These are all raffles against that wall. $5 in the red bags, $10 tickets in the white, and $20 tickets in the blue. Some of the stuff over there is pretty cool. If you guys didn't see the money tree, you know, you should go check out that money tree. There's a lottery tree and a money tree. Oh, and the gift cards too, the gift card tree. So it's very cool. Kids are going to be selling them 50-50. I'm going to take this time to introduce Jim Gold and Gallery. So they're going to come up and perform, and then after their performance, we'll be then closing out the raffles. So thank you again, and enjoy the show. Thank you. Oh, and after their performance, Jim's going to be signing autographs and do you have CDs or something too? I'm not sure. Autographs, pictures, and CDs and things like that. And some proceeds go to the Vets Returning Home as well. Oh yeah, because Terry McCoskey just mentioned, and you know, he and his wife are regular contributors. We do have a supporting partner program where you can make monthly contributions. Just go visit our website and you can see different ways to get involved. Thank you so much, Terry, for reminding me of that point. Thank you. Jim Gold.
Maybe I come up with a song to make people won't stop all the fussing and fighting. Lord, let us sing along. I believe in music. Oh, I believe in love. I believe in music. Oh, I believe in love. Music is love and love is music, if you know what I mean. music got the happiest people I've ever seen. Clap your hands, stomp your feet, shake your tambourine. Lift your voices to the sky, won't you? Tell me what you see. I believe in music. Oh, I believe in love. I believe in music.
Hi everybody, I'm here with Jerry Chachos. He actually put together our brochures and he's been doing it for quite a few years anytime we have any of these galas and things like that. And Jerry, what brought you into helping out Vets Returning Home?
I sat on the board of Solid Ground, which was in the same building as Vets Returning Home, and we closed back in 2014, and I met with Sandy and I loved what she had to offer, and I enjoy giving back to the vets. That was a very passionate thing that I enjoy doing. So that's what I continue to do because I love the cause for them.
That's awesome. Now, again, Jerry's made quite a few of these brochures throughout the years, and he was telling me a story that this was the one that we were supposed to have a fundraiser back in 2019 that obviously got canceled thanks to virus which shall not be named. But he got to use the beautiful graphics that he created for that one in this year, so I'm glad they didn't go to waste. Now that hard work and dedication he's put in. So again, thank you, Jerry, for everything you do, and we look forward to seeing more and more.
Good, thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm here with Ashley, and she's one of our female veterans over at Vets Returning Home. Ashley, what branch did you serve in?
Army National Guard.
I was hoping you would say something other than Army, so I could have said that old standard of I won't hold that against you, but...
I was also a diesel mechanic in the motor pool, so...
Well, luckily enough, she had enough common sense to go to the Army. Anyway, Ashley, as I said, is one of our female members, one of our female veterans over at Vets Returning Home. I don't like to ask the questions of what brought you there, but what does it mean to you to have a place like Vets Returning Home, if one of only 6 beds in the entire state of Michigan?
Well, after actually going through a bunch of schooling to get a good job, I lost it, and I became homeless from it, and this is the most stability and the best chance I've had at recovering from it and actually doing something positive with my life, and I've got to help out a lot, which has helped me a lot. And I love it.
It gives you that sense of community. You get to actually do something for others around you as well. That's one of the things I loved about the place.
Yeah, I've actually had moments of peace and happiness that I have not had in a long time.
Even with working in that moving truck, lifting all that furniture and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody's piece is different. I'm not going to knock her for it. Well, thanks again, Ashley.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. You look old and wise. I figured I would stop and ask you questions.
Okay.
You might be able to guide us in the right directions. Anyway, this is Paul Diem. He's obviously a very integral part of Vets Returning Home. Paul, how does it feel actually being back to doing some of these gigs again?
It feels great.
Yeah.
Feels great.
Well, how does it feel to not be on a truck moving furniture?
Even better.
Yeah? It seemed like the biggest, heaviest thing you had to pick up there was a guitar pick. So that's not too horrible, right?
Yeah, no, that's kind of light. Little lighter than a couch, or half a couch.
So with all the beating that you take from this place, from everything that you do and all the hard work and everything, what do you feel is the biggest thing you get out of it?
Personal satisfaction from doing it.
It's a beautiful thing, right? That's all we can ask for. All right, I think I should cut it. Hey, sir.